We're living in an incredibly interesting time from a scientific perspective. Scientists are developing brand new technologies that allow us to manipulate life, in fact, even potentially create life in the lab. And it's all based on advances in techniques and technologies to manipulate living systems, as well as our increased understanding of how life works. In fact, there's a whole new area in biotechnology called synthetic biology, where the goal is to create artificial, non-natural life forms, or to take existing life forms and modify them and manipulate them in such a way that they do things that they wouldn't naturally do. Now, this is an exciting area of science. It's a little bit frightening, of course, when you think about scientists creating life in the lab and altering life in the lab. But it also is an area that many people believe relates to the case for biological evolution. They would argue that if we can go in the lab and manipulate life, if we can go in the lab and in fact create life with our own hands, that means that God isn't necessary, and that this validates the evolutionary paradigm, and specifically it validates the idea that life came from non-life through chemical evolutionary processes. And so what I want to do is talk about this whole area of synthetic biology and ask the question, is the ability to create life in the lab evidence for biological evolution, or is it evidence that supports the Christian faith? Now, why on earth would scientists want to go in the lab and create artificial life? Well, there's very good reasons for doing this. The vision that scientists have, and right now the goal is to simply make single-celled entities that look like bacteria. These would be called protocells, or in some cases they would be artificial microbes. But the reason for doing this is because they envision these single-celled entities as functioning as bioreactors, as mini factories, if you will, that can take inexpensive raw materials and convert them into highly valuable products. Biomedicines, bioplastics, agricultural materials. Even some people think that these cells can make biofuels and help solve the world's energy problems, producing clean, renewable forms of energy. So there's very good reasons why scientists want to do this type of work. There are other scientists who are involved in this work who are interested in the origin of life question, who feel like if we can make artificial life in the lab, that might just somehow shine light onto how evolution evolved the very first life forms from simple chemical materials. And in fact, many origin of life researchers are actually working in the area of synthetic biology, trying to make artificial life. Again, hoping that this will help them to understand how life originates. And these scientists feel convinced that if they can make life in the lab, that means a creator is not necessary, that they have somehow justified the idea that life evolved on Earth. But the irony here is this, that as scientists work to create artificial life in the lab, what becomes very evident is that these scientists are doing incredible, amazing work that is utterly dependent upon the fact that these scientists possess some of the best minds in the world, that they're working collaboratively in very large teams of scientists who not only are brilliant minds, but are highly skilled in very technical areas, that they are employing elaborate strategies to carry out their work, that they are employing sophisticated laboratory manipulations, and that it's intelligence that they're employing, that they are using to bring about the creation of artificial life. And I believe that this is implying very powerfully that life can't come from non-life unless intelligent agency is involved. In other words, these scientists who are working in synthetic biology not only undermine the evolutionary paradigm by showing that simple chemicals don't self-organize into life, but rather are showing instead that to get simple chemicals to assume the properties of a living cell requires intelligent agents to be involved in that process. And so synthetic biology and the advances in the creation of artificial life actually support a Christian worldview and a Christian commitment to the idea that life stems from the work of a creator, and in no way supports the evolutionary paradigm.